All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are live on Bear Sheath Farm. I am your host, John, and in that, we are now in the scroll of Shemoth, Exodus in English. I'm opening it up. Wait a minute. All righty then. So let's do this and get Elohim's Debar, as in God's word, going here, and see if we can get it out to the masses and help them to accept Yeshua as their Mashiach and to repent. Oh, this coffee's good. Been a long day. Anyway, let's begin. Chapter 1 of Exodus. Now these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt. Every man and his household came with Jacob. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin. Dan and Naphtali. Gad and Asher. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already. And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly, and multiplied, and waxed exceedingly mighty. And the land was filled with them. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. Welcome and shalom to Carolyn Gannon. Verse 9. And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom, and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, in mortar and in brick, and in all manner of service in the field. All their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor. And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of the one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other Puah. And he said, When ye do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. But the midwives feared God, and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the men children alive. All right, well, there are times you need to disobey the evil, corrupt government. Sorry to the Christians. That's the way it is. Verse 18. And the king of Egypt called for the midwives, and said unto them, Why have ye done this thing, and have saved the men children alive? And the midwives said unto Pharaoh, Because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively and are delivered ere the midwives come in unto them. Therefore God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty. And it came to pass, because the midwives feared God, that he made them houses. And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, Every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive. That's all 22 verses of Exodus chapter 1. Welcome and shalom to Wilfred Whiskey. Well, folks, there are just times, you look at the way our government's going, not good. And I have some stuff after this reading. We'll be looking at some things here. I gathered a little bit of information to get it organized. It's not real complicated, okay? But anyway, you need to be careful with that. I do not recommend just breaking laws. That's not my point. True Torah keepers were law keepers, not law breakers. And I'm talking about the instructions of Elohim. Okay? So I just want to make that clear. Let's keep this moving. Exodus chapter 2. And there went a man of the house of Levi and took to wife a daughter of Levi. And the woman conceived and bare a son. And when she saw him that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. And when she could not longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes and daubed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein. And she laid it in the flags by the river's brink. And his sisters stood afar off, to wit what would be done to him. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along by the river's side. And when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it. And when she had opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the babe wept. Excuse me. And she had compassion on him and said, This is one of the Hebrews' children. Then said his sister to Pharaoh's daughter, Shall I go and call to thee a nurse of the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for thee? And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, Go. And the maid went and called the child's mother. And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, Take this child away and nurse it for me, and I will give thee thy wages. And the woman took the child and nursed it. And the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. And she called his name Moses. And she said, Because I drew him out of the water. And it came to pass in those days, when Moses was grown, that he went out unto his brethren, and looked on their burdens, and he spied an Egyptian smiting an Hebrew, one of his brethren. And he looked this way and that way, and when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian, and hid him in the sand. And when he went out the second day, behold, 2 men of the Hebrews strove together. And he said to him that did the wrong, Wherefore smitest thou thy fellow? And he said, Who made thee a prince and a judge over us? Intendest thou to kill me as thou killedst the Egyptian? And Moses feared and said, Surely this thing is known. Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses. But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh, and dwelt in the land of Midian, and he sat down by a well. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water, and filled the troughs to water their father's flock. And the shepherds came and drove them away, but Moses stood up and helped them, and watered their flock. And when they came to rule their father, he said, How is it that ye are come so soon today? And they said, An Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds, and also drew water enough for us, and watered the flock. And he said unto his daughters, And where is he? Why is it that ye have left the man? Call him, that he may eat bread. And Moses was content to dwell with the man, and he gave Moses Zipporah his daughter. And she bare him a son, and he called his name Gershom, for he said, I have been a stranger in a strange land. And it came to pass in process of time that the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel sighed by reason of the bondage, and they cried, and their cry came up unto God by reason of the bondage. And God heard their groaning, and God remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. And God looked upon the children of Israel, and God had respect unto them. All 25 verses of Exodus chapter 2. All right. I want to get a little bit more, too, because there's history outside of the canon. They were drowning Hebrew male babies, infants. The Egyptians, the Mitzrites were doing that. Also, too, they were putting them in brick mortar, when they were building their walls and stuff. Putting the male infants in live and letting them die. There was nothing they could do. Now, even though the Pharaoh was afraid about the Hebrews being more mightier than they, yes, they had potential, but they couldn't do it yet. It wasn't their time. And, of course, as we'll keep reading with the 12 plagues and that, pretty much was meant for God to do it, to glorify himself, and to bring into him a chosen people. I mean, compare it to what's going on with children now. Abortions, mutilation, with the libtards and doing what they are, and that, and basically slaughtering our children. Now, I don't see anything in the future other than Yeshua coming back and straightening this out. But I mean, all you can do is your thing on an individual level to the best of your ability and trust the Lord. You have I don't see any risen prophet or anything like that coming and we going off somewhere. We can probably get in groups and communities together. I think we can. Potentially, we're very capable, but a big thing like this is not going to happen anytime soon. So pray about what you think you need to do. We take a swig of coffee here and then we'll start Exodus. Sorry about my tongue in that. Exodus chapter 3. All right, let's do this. Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the backside of the desert and came to the mountain of God, even to Horeb. Keep in mind, Horeb is also Mount Sinai. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. And Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt. And when the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, God called unto him out of the midst of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Draw not nigh hither, put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy ground. Moreover, he said, I am the God of thy father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon God. And the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. And I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of that land unto a good land, and a large, unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel is come unto me, and I have also seen the oppression wherewith the Egyptians oppressed them. Come now therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. And Moses said unto God, Who am I that I should go unto Pharaoh, and that I should bring forth the children of Israel out of Egypt? And he said, Certainly I will be with thee, and this shall be a token unto thee that I have sent thee. When thou hast brought forth the people out of Egypt, ye shall serve God upon this mountain. And Moses said unto God, Behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, and shall say unto them, The God of your fathers hath sent me unto you, and they shall say to me, What is his name? What shall I say unto them? And God said unto Moses, I am that I am. And he said, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am, hath sent me unto you. Okay, before I continue on to verse 15, and when you read Exodus chapter 3:14, this is where I do believe Moshe was talking to Yeshua. Now the King James does read, I am that I am. I think it's a little more accurate if you put I am who I am. We go to the Gospel of John. Let's go to John chapter 8, verse 58. Jesus, or Yeshua said unto them, Verily, verily, I say unto you, before Abraham was, I am. Okay, so just thought I'd put that little piece in there. Let's continue on. Verse 15. And God said moreover unto Moses, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, The Lord God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, hath sent me unto you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial unto all generations. Go and gather the elders of Israel together, and say unto them, The Lord God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob, appeared unto me, saying, I have surely visited you, and seen that which is done to you in Egypt. And I have said, I will bring you up out of the affliction of Egypt unto the land of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, unto a land flowing with milk and honey. And they shall hearken to thy voice, and thou shalt come thou and the elders of Israel, unto the king of Egypt, and ye shall say unto him, The Lord God of the Hebrews hath met with us. Now let us go, we beseech thee, 3 days' journey into the wilderness, that we may sacrifice to the Lord our God. And I am sure that the king of Egypt will not let you go, no, not by a mighty hand. In other words, it's going to have to be forced. And most of you know this. And I will stretch out my hand and smite Egypt with all my wonders, which I will do in the midst thereof, and after that he will let you go. And I will give this people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, and it shall come to pass that when ye go, you shall not go empty. Oh, man. But every woman shall borrow of her neighbor, and of her that sojourneth in her house, jewels of silver, jewels of gold, and raiment, and ye shall put them upon your sons and upon your daughters, and ye shall spoil the Egyptians. In other words, there'll be a lot of booty. So, since it's Yah's war, it's a war. And that's all 22 verses of Exodus chapter 3, by the way. Give me a minute, folks. I'm really I'm exhausted. I don't think I'm going to even do my calisthenics tonight. I just want to go to bed. So, but I got some more stuff after I read the 5 chapters here. I do want to get a little bit of this out. Exodus chapter 4. And Moses answered and said, But behold, they will not believe me, nor hearken unto my voice, for they will say, The Lord hath not appeared unto thee. And the Lord said unto him, What is that in thine hand? And he said, A rod. And he said, Cast it on the ground. And he cast it on the ground, and it became a serpent. And Moses fled from before it. And the Lord said unto Moses, Put forth thine hand, and take it by the tail. And he put forth his hand, and caught it. And it became a rod in his hand, that they may believe that the Lord God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, hath appeared unto thee. And the Lord said furthermore unto him, Put now thine hand into thy bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom. And when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow. And he said, Put thine hand into thy bosom again. And he put his hand into his bosom again, and plucked it out of his bosom. And behold, it was turned again as his other flesh. And it shall come to pass, if they will not believe thee, neither hearken to the voice of the first sign, that they will believe the voice of the latter sign. And it shall come to pass, if they will not believe also the 2 signs, neither hearken unto the voice, that thou shalt take of the water of the river, and pour it upon the dried land. And the water which thou takest out of the river shall become blood upon the dried land. And Moses said unto the Lord, O my Lord, I am not eloquent, neither heretofore, nor since thou hast spoken unto thy servant, but I am slow of speech and of a slow tongue. Before I go on to verse 11, he was a very good speaker. He was very highly educated, with education in Egypt for one thing. Acts backs it up for another. The scroll or book of Acts, that he was a good speaker. He just wanted to get out of it. And anyway, no matter, I don't know, maybe that's the signs of a true leader too, when you think about it. You look at things and let me look at something here. When you look at these things, folks, a lot of leaders, a lot of true leaders want to get out of it. The ones that are craving and thirsting for power, be very wary of them. Very wary and leery. You keep your head on a swivel with a person like that. Okay? It's one thing if they lead and they enjoy it and they do a good job and mete out their judgments are meted out with good, logical, honest decisions, and they're not a respecter of persons. I get that, but I'm just saying. So anyway, so obviously Moshe had his issues, his sins too, and we're going to read about it later as we continue through the Torah. Anyway, verse 11. And the Lord said unto him, Who hath made man's mouth? Or who maketh the dumb or deaf or the seeing or the blind? Have not I the Lord? Now therefore go, and I will be with thy mouth and teach thee what thou shalt say. And he said, O my Lord, as a master now. He must have been speaking. I'm guessing. I can't prove it. It's just master as in Yeshua. O my Lord, send, I pray thee, by the hand of him whom thou wilt send. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Moses. And he said, Is not Aaron the Levite thy brother? I know that he can speak well, and also behold, he cometh forth to meet thee, and when he seeth thee, he will be glad in his heart. And thou shalt speak unto him, and put words in his mouth, and I will be with thy mouth, and with his mouth, and will teach you what ye shall do. And he shall be thy spokesman unto the people, and he shall be to thee instead of a mouth. And thou shalt be to him instead of a God. And thou shalt be to him instead of God. Basically, Moses is in the stead of God in that sense, being a representative of Elohim, the actual true God. Moses is not, but, I think you get what I'm saying. Verse 17, And thou shalt take this rod in thine hand, wherewith thou shalt do signs. And Moses went and returned to Jethro, his father-in-law, and said unto him, Let me go, I pray thee, and return unto my brethren which are in Egypt, and see whether they be yet alive. And Jethro said to Moses, Go in peace. And the Lord said unto Moses in Midian, Go, return into Egypt, for all the men are dead which sought thy life. And Moses took his wife and his sons, and set them upon an ass. And he returned to the land of Egypt, and Moses took the rod of God in his hand. And the Lord said unto Moses, When thou goest to return into Egypt, see that thou do all those wonders before Pharaoh, which I have put in thine hand, but I will harden his heart, that he shall not let the people go. And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, Thus saith the Lord, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. And I say unto thee, Let my son go, that he may serve me. And if thou refuse to let him go, behold, I will slay thy son, even thy firstborn. And it came to pass by the way in the end, that the Lord met him and sought to kill him. Then Zipporah took a sharp stone, and cut off the foreskin of her son, and cast it at his feet, and said, Surely a bloody husband art thou to me. Well, before we go on to verse 26, let's just be grateful for Zipporah saving her hubby's side, shall we? Verse 26, So he let him go. Then she said, A bloody husband thou art because of the circumcision. And the Lord said to Aaron, Go into the wilderness to meet Moses. And he went and met him in the mount of God and kissed him. And Moses told Aaron all the words of the Lord who had sent him, and all the signs which he had commanded him. And Moses and Aaron went and gathered together all the elders of the children of Israel. And Aaron spake all the words which the Lord had spoken unto Moses, and did the signs in the sight of the people. And the people believed. And when they heard that the Lord had visited the children of Israel, and that he had looked upon their affliction, then they bowed their heads and worshipped. It's all 31 verses of chapter 4. Okay. We have one more chapter of Exodus, and then we'll move on to the news and stuff. Give you a little updates, Give me a second. All right, just checking things here. All right, chapter 5. And afterward Moses and Aaron went in and told Pharaoh, Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, Let my people go, that they may hold a feast unto me in the wilderness. And Pharaoh said, Who is the Lord, that I should obey his voice to let Israel go? I know not the Lord, neither will I let Israel go. And they said, The God of the Hebrews hath met with us. Let us go, we pray thee, 3 days' journey into the desert, and sacrifice unto the Lord our God, lest he fall upon us with pestilence or with the sword. And the king of Egypt said unto them, Wherefore do ye, Moses and Aaron, let the people go from their works, get you unto your burdens. And Pharaoh said, Behold, the people of the land now are many, and ye make them rest from their burdens. And Pharaoh commanded the same day the taskmasters of the people and their officers, saying, Ye shall no more give the people straw to make brick, as heretofore. Let them go and gather straw for themselves. And the tale of the bricks which they did make heretofore, ye shall lay upon them. You shall not diminish aught thereof, for they be idle. Therefore they cry, saying, Let us go and sacrifice to our God. Let there more work be laid upon the men, that they may labor therein, and let them not regard vain words. And the taskmasters of the people went out, and their officers, and they spake to the people, saying, Thus saith Pharaoh, I will not give you straw. Go ye, get you straw where ye can find it, yet not aught of your work shall be diminished. In other words, the status quo. I've been supervisors, and I've done supervisory and lead positions, and been a regular for that matter in factory work. And you have a quota to make. There are times you can make exceptions when the machines go down. You're always having to fix on them, and especially when you have to call in maintenance, if it's beyond your capacity. But you got so long to do that, to get up to the status quo, get your quota, and if you don't do it, you're not going to be there long. In this cases, they were getting tortured over it, but it'll work out, as I'm sure all of you know. Verse 12, So the people were scattered abroad throughout all the land of Egypt to gather stubble instead of straw. And the taskmasters hasted them, saying, Fulfill your works, your daily tasks, as when there was straw. And the officers of the children of Israel, which Pharaoh's taskmasters had set over them, were beaten and demanded, Wherefore have ye not fulfilled your task in making brick both yesterday and today, as heretofore? Then the officers of the children of Israel came and cried unto Pharaoh, saying, Wherefore dealest thou thus with thy servants? There is no straw given unto thy servants. And they say to us, Make brick, and behold, thy servants are beaten, but the fault is in thine own people. But he said, Ye are idle, ye are idle. Therefore ye say, Let us go and do sacrifice to the Lord. Go therefore now and work, for there shall no straw be given you, yet shall ye deliver the tale of bricks. And the officers of the children of Israel did see that they were in evil case, after it was said, You shall not diminish aught from your bricks of your daily task. You have to love the wording of the King James. Man, I really do like it. Verse 20, And they met Moses and Aaron, who stood in the way as they came forth from Pharaoh. And they said unto them, The Lord look upon you and judge, because ye have made our savor to be abhorred in the eyes of Pharaoh and in the eyes of his servants, to put a sword in their hand to slay us. And Moses returned unto the Lord and said, Lord, as in master again, wherefore hast thou so evil entreated this people? Why is it that thou hast sent me? For since I came to Pharaoh to speak in thy name, he hath done evil to this people, neither hast thou delivered thy people at all. Okay, so Moses is getting a little upset with God in this. I'm tempted to go to chapter 6, but we can wait until tomorrow, I think. Oh, hey, welcome and shalom to Brother Timothy. How you doing there, Aki, as in brother? Like I said, you can compare a lot of things and make them very applicable to today. When people come up to me, the book of James is only written for the scattered Jews of that time and blah. Well, okay, fine. Take it out of your Bible. Rip it out. I will not. It's inspired. It's divine. And two, I mean, it's more than that. It's good practical advice. I mean, you can't get around it. Really, not on a logical level. Not neither with IQ nor EQ. And not just James. No. you look at all the practicality, the way Deb and I want to do our crops and stuff, you know, we're nothing original. A lot of this stuff was taught to the Israelites, the Hebrews. Absolutely. I couldn't put it any better myself there, Brother Tim. So, that being said, folks, I want to go over an article. We'll just move right on now. I've been meaning to get some of this info because a lot of you, if you have vehicles that are older than 2001, I believe, you could have some real problems. I'll put this article up and then I'm going to play a video or something. Hold on a second. Well, I have to show something else too. There we are. Okay. And this isn't a federal law, but you have to wonder if they're on their way to doing it. The 4-gallon minimum rule isn't a federal law, but it still exists for a reason. In other words, they don't want you buying any gas, anything less than $4. That reminds me. I mean, when I go to, I don't do this anymore. I do go to Tractor Supply at times, but I mean, I don't buy any of their biddies anymore because they're vaccinated, and I don't want those. But they have a lot of rules, like you have to buy so many biddies. And I remember back in the past, before they were doing that jabs thing, with them, I only wanted one or two. I mean, there were times I wanted more, but I'd have to go to others, and I have no problem going to other homesteaders. Now, this is from the the Jalop Nick. And I don't know if it's a silent G like Halop Nick, but the 4-gallon minimum rule isn't a federal law, but it still exists for a good reason. On some gas pumps, you'll find a sticker stating that you must fill up at least 4 gallons of fuel. No, this isn't a scheme to make you buy more fuel than you need. There's actually a very sound reason behind it. The rule only applies to blender pumps or pumps that dispense both E10 and E15 fuel. The gas in your car almost always contains ethanol. E10 consists of 90% of gasoline, 10% of ethanol, and it's very likely the type of fuel sitting inside your car right now. E15, you guessed it, fuel that's 85% gasoline and 15% ethanol. It's typically cheaper than regular E10, but E15 can damage older vehicles featuring fuel systems that weren't designed for it. The Environmental Protection Agency states that E15 can only be used in cars from model year 2001 onward. Now, I will let you, on your own time, if you so choose, read the rest. I mean, it's not a very long article, folks. Okay. Like I said, Halop Nick, what culture? You guys can see it on there. Okay, so anyway, like I said, I know I have a good crowd too. Let me go ahead and share that. But this will do damage to your tank. I guess some people have lost their engines all the way, and they're in a real pickle. They have these old vehicles, and some of the ethanol and stuff, they're going way past 15% ethanol. I've done some research on that too, just so you know, and it's getting bad. And that's their way, I believe, of control. Try to control you more. Those newer vehicles, especially. I know I did how many live streams ago on that? Let's say if I was out chainsawing and with somebody, and we were cutting wood, getting it ready for firewood from the winter months, and my partner, my buddy that I'm working with, I should say, he has an accident. The chainsaw goes into his leg. He's bleeding profusely. I think I'm one of the calmest guys that'd be able to deal with it. But even my eyes would probably be a little dilated. My adrenaline would be rushing to an extent. My heart rate would be increased. And if I get into one of those new vehicles, because I'm 25 miles out, I might even not even have cell service. Even if I do, it's a lot quicker for me with a little bit of a worked up state because I can keep control, but maybe some can't. I don't know. But my point is, it's not for the government to decide. That's just my opinion. But then I get into that new vehicle, it's going to notice all this stuff, and it won't let me start the vehicle. And my friend stands a lot more of a chance of dying because of that nonsense. I remember in the early 90s, we had some leaded gas, or I'm trying to remember what that was about. People had leaded gas and they were putting more of the unleaded. I'm wondering if I'm remembering that correctly with all of you other older guys like me. And we had that formula that we could put into our gas tank to make it work better and not mess the engine up. And I'm wondering if I can find something like that. I don't know if they're coming up with anything yet, even underground, but I had the pistons to my pickup blew. That was a Dodge Dakota 2003. And I haven't had a vehicle for quite some time, but that would be good enough supposedly to make it. But they really, it's going to get down to where they want you to be newer than that. I mean, when I lost that vehicle and the pistons blew, it was 2025 sometime over a year ago. By then the truck was 22 years old. So now when I say be prepared as best you can, I looked this up again and I got it. You get it? I hope this doesn't happen. I mean, look at this. This is 1877, 149 years ago, and 50 to 60 million people died. I'm sure that would be wonderful news to Bill Gates. Now they're predicting here to be more severe. I did some information checking. Now that was mainly in the Asian states in that too back then in 1877. But that being said, folks, it did affect the United States as well. I guess we had kind of a dark, very minor winter, but it wasn't, in fact, lacking winter. I don't mind it being warm in the wintertime. I'm cool with that. I was born and raised in Minnesota. I've had enough cold to make my days, but you don't want this going on either. Yeah, well, okay. I know, Brother Tim, you do a lot of research. You're pretty knowledgeable too. I'm just saying, be prepared. Look, if nothing out of the ordinary happens this year, great. It's better to be safe than to be sorry. Right? Yeah. So I just thought I'd point because I've been talking about it off and on, and but people had a hard time with their crops, even in the United States and stuff. And we had some hard things going on in 1877. We just didn't have it. Our ancestors just didn't have it nearly as bad as over there in China and wherever. Okay, they got hit hard. Many people died. Okay, that's funny. That's funny. Oh, well, welcome and shalom to Haas. Okay, I guess I didn't know that. Someone pumping E15 gas using the same hose as E10 leaves some E15 gas in the hose. So to flush out and dilute the E15 gas for the next user, that may be an E10 user. 4 gallons is volume to dilute the E15. Okay. Anyway, let me ensure this. All right. I recently just watched the live stream that's been done for I believe probably less than an hour on Stephen Gardner, somewhere around there, probably 50 minutes or so ago. I don't know. And I'm going to play this one part in the car. I'll put his. I do recommend that you subscribe and hit the notification bell to Stephen Gardner. He does have a lot of great information, even though he's a little bit too much of a Trump fan for my liking. Let me get this. Yeah, I can relate to that. Hold on a second. Because pastor talks, and I mean, you couldn't have put it any better than what this pastor does. He plays a clip, and I don't know who this pastor is. If you do, put his name in there or something, or his YouTube channel if he has one. Yeah, no, you feel like you're just in a slate, like in a no-win situation. I mean, we couldn't see voting for a woman who would not there. I think over 3 million illegals have been detained since Trump Vance, that administration has been in. They'd still be out on the streets. And how many more millions would have come through the border by now? Would we have collapsed by now? So who do you vote for? That's a good question. Probably start on your local level. Take care of things at home as best you can. Anyway, I'm digressing. You got to listen to this. I mean, it's funny in a way, even though it's a very serious situation, folks.
Story. This is a pastor talking about our country and the American government. It made me laugh. So why don't we go ahead and we'll watch this together.
If you can get arrested for hunting and fishing without a license, but you can enter this country and remain in this country illegally, you got a country run by idiots. If you have to get your parents' permission to go on a field trip and get an aspirin at school, but you don't have to get their permission to get an abortion, you got a country run by idiots. If you must show identification to board an airplane and cash a check and check out a library book, but you don't have to show identification to vote in our elections, you got a nation run by a bunch of idiots. The government wants to prevent, and they want to take our guns away and turn around and send F-16 fighter jets to our enemy countries, take our guns away, and give ammunition to our enemy countries. You have a country run by idiots. In the nation's largest city, New York City, you can buy 2 16-ounce Cokes, but you can't buy 1 24-ounce Coke because 24 ounces of a sugary Coke will make you fat. But you can buy 2 16 ounces. You got a country and a city run by some idiots. If your government believes the best way to eradicate trillions of dollars in debt is to spend more trillions of dollars in debt, you got a country run by idiots.
Oh my gosh. I hate to say it, folks, because I like a lot of the people that are working with President Trump, and I don't think President Trump is an idiot, but I gotta be honest. We got a country run by idiots. $40 trillion.
All right. Kind of a good short laugh to have, It's ephemeral, but wow. Yeah. I've heard that it's going to go in even through September. I don't know. We're going to find out one day at a time, aren't we, Hoss? So, anyway, yeah, I'm watching, I do keep track of New York City to an extent. I've never lived there, but I've been through there many times. I think the last time I've been through there was 18 years ago. I don't know, whatever it was, but, oh, man. Yeah, it's about control. I don't know about you, Tim. I'm not giving up my pew-pews. Not happening. Not willingly. And what I mean is they're going to have to come in here, and I hope they don't. I'd rather be left alone, mind my own business. But again, we read in Exodus chapter 1, there are times that you have to go against your government. What he didn't bring up, or at least Stephen Gardner, obviously he didn't show the whole sermon, whoever this guy is. I don't know who he is. They can go, children can also in a lot of states, especially the blue woke libtard states, can go behind their parents' backs and have a sex change. I remember when Biden Harris were in, they wanted to make it a federal offense that if the parents objected, tried to stop their children from doing that. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know they're meeting. That just doesn't comfort me, though. So, Tim. But, I just thought I'd play that part. I watched another part, too, where Marco Rubio was being questioned by this ridiculous senator. And I want to make this clear. I'm not a big Marco Rubio fan, but these people are just going right out against us. They know the majority voted. Even with cheating going on. I think there was some cheating in the last presidential election. It was just, like Trump said, they just, the citizens, we made it too big to rig. That's all. Because I think like in 84, when President Reagan was running against former Vice President Walter Mondale, he took California. There wasn't the cheating. There was, not that I know of. I was too young to vote, but I mean, there is no voting, no cheating that I know of. Walter Mondale took, my home state, Minnesota, the 10 electoral votes, and he took another state with just 3 electoral. You want to talk about a landslide and whooping ass. Reagan, I mean, there is just popular and electoral votes. There was no contest with Reagan. And I think it would have been closer to that if there wouldn't have been any cheating going on. But, I don't know how thankful I am, though, with the current administration. I'm glad the borders are closed, and they've done some pretty significant arrests, gang member arrests very recently, too, again, with some people. And, you have these libtard politicians who, are trying to make it sound like we all are against this, and we're not. These people are, because I was watching the side chat too with Stephen Gardner, and arrest all the politicians that are blah blah. Trump doesn't have the sack to do that. And if some judge goes against him and writes out an illegal mandate, that judge should be arrested. James Jeb Boasberg, he's been the worst. Paula Zennis is another one. John James McConnell Jr. God, there's a couple other judges that are running through my head. Who was that guy against vote-in ballots, send-in ballots or whatever? We shouldn't be doing that. Maybe if you're in the military and you're overseas serving, I get that. I'm getting hardcore to the point, though, like if you're sick or elderly, find a way. Find a way to have somebody drive you to where you're supposed to vote. From whatever area you live in that you're legal, and help you walk. I've helped elderly people walk. I used to be in geriatrics. I had a gait belt and all that stuff. I mean, it can be done. I mean, if you're, like say if you have a good life, and I don't resent that. I've had money in my days before, but whereas now I really don't. But let's say you're on vacation and you're out of the country, or you're at least way out of your area, and you're not smart enough to get back into your area to vote, then maybe you just shouldn't vote. We can't trust it, folks. There's too much technology with the internet and that. So much crap going on. It just, And so these politicians are pretty much blatantly in our faces. And I have no doubt that some of them, like Jamie Raskin from the 8th Congressional District of Maryland, Robert Garcia of the 42nd Congressional District of California, who's doing the ICE trackers, he should be arrested for that. But when the people like, and there's a few others that say, you know, when we get back in power again, we're going after all of you, not just Trump. I think they're pretty sincere in that. I'll tell you, those ICE and Border Patrol agents, man, they better run for the hills. I mean, they better get their houses in order and get ready to leave in time. Whether it's out in the middle of nowhere or leaving the country, and they're just doing their jobs legally. Not only are they doing what they're ordered to do, they're enforcing the laws that are on the books by the presidents and past Congress, by past congressional members and senators, like it or not. No, I'm not a mega Republican. I don't know how many of you have heard this before. I am a theocratic monarchist. That's my political view as well as my spiritual. And I should probably give a separate testimony about that. I'm not going to tonight, but even though I'm not a MAGA, I mean, I'm against these dirty commies and Marxists, and they're a combination of things, but I mean they're more against this. Oh, really? Huh? Of Japan, huh? Are you being funny there, Rob? Hold on a second. Hold on, Rob. Let me help you out here. All right. Well, Rob, you and I have talked enough. I think I should be your king. You'd be the best butler I could ever have. I think you know that. Besides, you've been working out lately, right? So, no. Welcome and shalom to Rob Reed. I don't. They'll come after people like me too. Like I said, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Anyway, no, I'm going to be your Malek, as well as your Aki, your elder Aki, by the way, too. I am technically older than you by a few months, but okay, Brother Timothy, you take care. Stay safe. Hopefully you thumb me up. Thanks for stopping by. No, what was I saying now? I got all distracted joking around here. I don't, Rob, you screwed me up here. Oh, yeah, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I mean, Christopher Asher Ray, the former FBI director, President Trump stupidly appointed him during his first term, the Trump-Pence administration. Yeah, but stick around. And whoever it was it Biden that did Merrick Brian Garland, the Attorney General, Director of the Department of Justice? They had no qualms of breaking into people's homes at 4, 5, 6 in the morning. I mean, it was Christopher Asher Ray, the backstabbing little b-boy himself, that gave an open fire order on a former president's house in Mar-a-Lago. Another way you could say it is shoot to kill, if necessary. You have to hand it, as wrong as they were and as tyrannical as they were being. I mean, at least they had the sack. I don't see Kash Patel doing that. Todd Blanche, yeah, he's doing better than that joke of an attorney general, Pamela Joe Bondi, but he doesn't have the sack to do that either. I could go on all night about these jackasses. I've been around. I'm still thinking of the time that I met and talked with John Thune. He was running against back then incumbent Senator Tom Daschle. He's a tall guy. He towered over me like that when we shook hands. But I don't know what to say. Well, I want a Corvette. Buy me a Corvette, Rob. You're a rich attorney. You can do it. No, we're kind of on our own. And frankly, folks, I think we together, we are just as logical. We are just as intelligent. We are just as much of critical thinkers. In fact, more so. I think some of those politicians, they know what they're doing. They're doing it on purpose. They understand it. And they're willing to destroy us. But yeah, I think you have a few of them too, like the pole dancer from the 14th Congressional District of New York, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, her good friend Nasty Jizz in her crotch from the 30th Congressional District of Texas, Mayor Moron, Zoran the Moron Mom Donnie. I'm suspicious if they're really just that stupid. No, I think Melania is a lot more. She knows evidently 5-6 languages, Rob. So she's a pretty intelligent. Look, I mean, come on now. I'm not. I thought that was quite a clown show when Melania come out with that ridiculous AI robot. I mean, that really irked me to no end. But if you're talking intelligence quotient, yeah, I think Melania is well above any of the other people I just mentioned. No way, Rob. Yeah, well, you have to send that on over to me then. I want proof of that, and I want it. Okay, see, now you're getting me hollered at, Rob. Oh, man, this is all your fault. No, but staying serious, folks. Look, we can't look to anybody. Trump is doing a lot of stupid crap. These AI data centers, I am suspicious. I don't have proof one way or the other yet. Okay. What was I just talking about? Oh, man. No, I was looking at, the AI data centers. I know, like, during Trump's first term, I know the Iowa farmers were really happy with them. But they, I don't know what they'd have to say about them today. These AI data centers are forcing people out of their homes, their ranches, their farms, their land that they've had since their grandparents, great grandparents, double great. This is not a good situation, and I know Trump and Musk and them, and or I don't know them personally. I mean, I know they're all for this. I think probably 95% of the Epstein files have been redacted. Trump, I believe Trump when he said he's never been to Epstein Island. I don't think he's making that up. I think he's honest. I don't think he was ever there. But when you're protecting and redacting names from specific incidents of your billionaire friends, you're just as guilty. You're aiding and abetting. And it just, when I found out about that Leslie Herbert Wexner billionaire, Ohio billionaire, his name's in there many times, but they took him out of a specific section where he was co-conspirator to a child sex trafficking ring. I just, Anyway, I'm just making, Trump is gone. I suppose we should be all thankful because Paula Kane White, she declared everything holy ground. But, just look, we are an intelligent people. We know our scriptures. I have a really good crowd, and the ones that are still getting to learn yet, I'm trying to guide them the right way. That's like Rob, Rob makes a good student. Even though he's been distracting the living snot out of me here. He's got me curious. I didn't even know that. So, yeah. Okay. Sorry. I never heard that before, I guess. I don't know everything all the time. I'm not I'm not omniscient. So anyway, but pray about it and see, stay in Elohim's will, read your scriptures every day. I know it helps me a lot to be able to read this out loud to you folks. It keeps me on track too. I really miss doing this. I read the Restoration Study Bible, which is in Hebraic, offshoot of the King James. I read that all the way through on our other channel. It's just an account now. It's not a channel anymore. But and I'm trying to, I'm going to do it with the King James here, and and to be more in sync with one another, and we can fellowship and be evenly yoked. So I don't really have much more to say. I'm just kind of babbling now. I'm looking at things, and anyway, I don't really have a lot more to say. Let me get rid of that Facebook thing with the El Nino. Yeah, let's get rid of that too. And rid of the article. You guys can look up the article. If you don't remember, just go back, watch the video again. And so, yeah, no kidding. Right. That's Rob's fault, man. Yeah, not mine. You better blame him for that one. That probably won't work too well. But anyway, I'm in enough trouble already. No, folks, to really do though, sincerely, I appreciate you coming here and sticking to. And we made it through Exodus chapter 5. We'll get through all the Torah. We'll get through Joshua and Judges, and then we'll go to the Jewish. It'll be in the Jewish order from there, not the Christian, and continue on, Elohim willing. Yeah, I know. Well, I know, but you're so much more mature and professional than I am, Rob. You should know better. Oh, yeah. Anyway, all right, seriously, folks, stay safe out there. Keep yourselves hydrated with the heat and the humidity. It's dangerous out. I did a lot of work today out there. I had to clean a coop again after 13 days. It was getting so bad. And I had to keep up on the water and that, and do my, and I had to clean up, of course. And it was pretty bad, and I have to make sure to do that with my dogs and my fowl and that, and it's bad. So keep your heads on a swivel. Peace, shalom. The Levite man is out of here. Later.